I will personally get naked on screen if we don't make it to 20. So
yeah.
Right now, save us.
I'm already wearing no pants. Okay, I ain't got no pants on.
Wait. Honestly, who has no pants on?
That's gonna help viewership, Gina.
You guys are all wearing pants.
I knew the assignment.
I have shorts on.
I think you all should stand up. I wanted to know.
Do we have to do this?
You're gonna do a call right
yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
What?
Those are tight shorts.
Those are shorty shorts.
Shorts.
Oh,
Yeah, I
Shorts.
just got gym shorts on. Yeah.
Shorts.
Comics division is stood up right now.
Yeah.
wow.
Just like,
You stood on a phone book for that.
Nerdrotic.com.
Hello, Gina Carano. How are you? Yeah. Woo. Yeah.
Thanks for having me on. Happy 300. This is that's big. I think
it is
I don't
big.
know.
Thank
That's
you.
what she said.
What do I? Oh, so I have not done this before. Oh, well, maybe I did it once. I've got private chat and comments over on the side, right?
You
So-
read out all the private chats to the rest of the people.
Yeah.
All the private chat, all the gamer words.
So-
Yeah.
All of them.
Do you guys watch the comments on the YouTube section?
On the YouTube side.
I typically do not.
I always watch the comments section. Hail to the chat. The chat's the
Hail to the chat.
MVP of everything we do. So yes, we see.
So
the
we
chat
have
right now.
quotes like "hubba hubba," "Hail Gina,"
we love Gina.
"My crimers."
Yeah, my crimers. Crimers rise up.
Just say "as is gay," as you're gay.
As likes man tits. You know.
Yeah,
Hail
just,
to
you
you,
know,
man.
as
Okay.
enjoys the man tits.
I think in like, what was it, a couple years ago, I think I experienced it all. So now when I go online and I like look at stuff, I'm like, well, that's actually a funny one.
Yeah.
I'm so unaffected by it. And like people will call me like, Gina, how do you handle this? And I'm like, I don't even care. Like I could care less. Like I was wondering when that care button would like switch off. And it's like, I just pay attention to the positive one.
The comments on this will be like 99% positive for you.
Yeah,
Like
they
people will
will.
be very happy to see you here. So
Well,
I
they'll
wouldn't
be
worry
they'll
too
be
much about it.
positive, but I don't know whether or not you appreciate them.
That is.
I've seen it all. I've seen it all at this point. So it's like, I think I'm a veteran now. I feel like a veteran.
I feel like the current era of the internet is such like JV compared to what it was 10 or 15 years ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
If you were on the
was
internet on
brutal.
message boards or in game chats or whatever 10 or 15 years ago, if you could survive that, you could fucking survive anything.
I didn't do that 10 years ago. I just kind of like, I don't know. I've just been kind of like posting memes like my entire existence and like trying to be this positive person. And then like, then you start to get real about stuff and people are like, whoa. And then like, I feel like it's really changed though in the last 3 years. I feel like it's like now people are actually speaking out and talking and having better conversations, and you get the random weirdo that says something and you're like, okay, well, whatever, keep moving it along. So I don't know if that's been the same for you guys.
Well, that's because all the stuff they were banning people for turned out to be correct.
Yeah.
It's really awkward when that happens.
Kind of like some of the memes you
internet is a
posted.
breeding ground for all kinds of weirdos, and you're going to encounter them in your travels. But I think generally most people are okay. Like they might disagree with you, but they're not like.
Yeah.
You're not unhinged or anything.
Yeah, I think that our little corner of the internet is much different than most. Now, there's some rough riders for sure, but they keep us humble and in check. And there's times where we need to hear their feedback. The chat always has a different perspective than you because they're kind of out there, kind of down in the grind of the internet sometimes, just seeing what's going on. So you have to kind of keep your finger of the pulse, and the chat helps keep us pointed in that direction because we have so much going on. So we rely on our community to kind of keep us in check. So,
and that's where I feel like all these bigger, corporations have gone wrong is like, they don't have their finger to the pulse of what the people like and what they're saying. They just have their finger to the pulse of the interns who do not have their finger to the pulse to anybody but each other. And it's like this,
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
not
Just the
actually,
echo chamber, isn't it? I guess.
Yeah, I would say their fingers firmly placed up their ass.
Yeah.
On anyone's pulse, so.
Thumbs up their asses.
If you can
Yeah.
survive 18 months of nothing but man-tit jokes, you can survive anything. That's what I say.
Hey, there were some fat jokes there too, but now you got skinny,
Yeah.
so we're fucked.
Yeah.
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 Oh,
Less relevant every day.
awesome.
That's
Somebody in
fine.
the chat just says Jeremy does that a lot. He's still gay though.
See, the chat is always right.
Yeah.
Chat is always right.
Yeah, it's just like the sea from the Rings of Power.
Oh,
The chat
is always right.
Can we again? And we didn't mention this earlier. We need to commend Gary for saying weaponized autism on Fox News yesterday.
Oh, I said
I think when you said fat, ugly lesbians. as well.
fat, ugly lesbians. Weapon.
You set a sticky note on your monitor, like, okay. I gotta send
Oh,
that
that's
one,
just
that
off the top of my head.
Yeah.
You know.
That's not a bad idea. Just have a sticky note and be like, okay, I'm gonna touch on these subjects right
Little
here.
bullet points. Fat, ugly
Yeah.
lesbians.
Topics.
We talked about anyone but you, and the most unrealistic thing about that movie was a destination lesbian wedding that stayed together by the time they got to Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. Okay, it's funny because it's true.
It is true.
I think that you're the one with Sydney Sweeney. Is that the one? The
Yeah, yeah. Very
Was it
mid
good?
comedy, but it made a lot of money.
Was it good though?
It was mid. It was mid.
I mean, for guys, it has tits, and so they think it's great.
Yeah.
She leans
She's like,
into it as
hey,
well.
She does. She leans into it, and she seems. I don't know anything about her, but the fact that she's actually into like fixing up cars and things like this
Yeah.
that are outside of just walking a red carpet and like looking
Yeah.
traditionally femininely beautiful, and she's also like still in the garage doing that shit. I think a lot of people just think she's kind of normal as you can be when you're like that in Hollywood.
Pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see like this next generation. I'd say like, you know, there's people like her, like Zendaya. I think Zendaya is amazing. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I think that she's just like one of the more talented.
I don't know her, but like I guess I've never quite understood why she's so massive right now. It feels like they're trying to really make her a thing.
But she's
I
more of
don't
a she's
quite
more of a
know why.
fashion
Like,
icon, I think. Than
But yeah, like I don't know what
Yeah.
she's like as a person, so
You
she could be
guys-
awesome.
You guys are all wrong.
Hey, I wanted that suit of armor that she wore for my Fallout game. So I want to wear that. I want my cheeks hanging out.
With windows, little cheek windows.
I feel like that's a Halloween costume that must happen now.
Oh.
Yes, you heard it here first.
Windows.
Well, we'll hold you to it as.
Do I look gay in this? No.
Oh my gosh,
How
I can't
about
believe you guys don't like Zendaya.
Yes.
Zendaya is so.
Well, she's
So the,
she's been
the
in-
last thing,
Oh, go ahead, Ryan.
that she was in big that all of us watched was Dune
Dune.
Part 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people had problems with what they did with her character and compared to the books and how they changed. They specifically tried to change her character from the books for a reason, which kind of failed to come over well for some people. But for a lot of others, it's like, gosh, she just has this kind of, she's upset. She's got this resting bitch face the entire movie. I think that was more a choice than it was Zendaya's acting. I don't know if people have seen like stuff like Euphoria or other things she's been in, but I think she's talented. I just didn't like Shawnee.
Euphoria was awesome too. I love her. You know, like you never really know what's going on the set. So like you've got like the director, and then you've got all of this going on, and then you've got everybody's input, and maybe not everybody's read the books. Like I haven't read the Dune books, so when I watched the Dune movies in the theater, I was like, oh my gosh, this is incredible, you know. But, you know, a lot of these actors don't have the, you know, sometimes it's like, no, this is the way it's going to be. And they don't have the option out of it to, you know, for instance, I think like Henry Cavill, I think that he's such a fan of like The Witcher, and he's such a fan of Superman. And it's like he wanted to put so much of, you know, his input in to where I think I remember him like kind of like rewriting the script at one point, like, no, we can't do this to Superman, you know?
Yeah.
And he cared so much because he was such a fan of it. You know, I think that's what happens with some of these actors is like, you know, I don't know if like Zendaya or anybody read the books, you know?
Well, I think it's like
if I was in it.
Well, self-awareness is the most crucial part. So like Henry Cavill, we've all watched the interview where they tried to bait him into calling fans toxic, and he completely flipped it on the interviewer and basically like, there's no the toxic fans. They're just passionate and there's nothing wrong with that. If he would have walked into that trap and called fans toxic, there'd be a much different perception of him if he does stuff like that. Sydney Sweeney, if she comes out and says that the only people that are talking about my looks are all of these misogynist, toxic men.
Yeah.
The internet's going to turn on her immediately. So it's just a simple thing of self-awareness. With Zendaya or whatever, she was in the Spider-Man movies, and I think a lot of people didn't like that she was in the Spider-Man movies because of how she was portrayed.
It's a kind of a replacement of the classic Mary Jane character.
Exactly. Yeah. So that put a negative kind of connotation to her overall vibe of a actor.
I could be wrong though. I don't think Zendaya said anything about the MJ stuff.
I can't remember any statements that she's made.
I don't think she has.
One way or the other.
Yeah. I don't think she has.
Best thing to do.
Because like I have this little private account. I'll let you guys know. I have this private account that I kind of, I like to keep my ear to the street of like what Hollywood's doing just to kind of understand. And it seems like a lot of these more A-list stars have kind of pulled themselves off the internet, and it's like it almost feels like Instagram's become a commercial, like a constant commercial, like lip gloss. Like I'm like, these girls are putting on way too much lip gloss. They're gonna get like lip cancer or something. Like, how much lip gloss do you need? So, like, I've done like some kind of comedy bits on my own on my phone. So if I ever get hacked, it'd be pretty funny. Like people send me stuff, but I get like dry rub for meat, and I'm like, oh my gosh, guys, look at this package. I can't believe it.
Oh my God.
But I think you've touched on something really important about this. Like with actors, they would do so much better if they just didn't make any statements about this stuff one way or the other.
Yes.
Because
you just had The Rock backtrack his political statements because he was like,
just
I shouldn't have done
political
that.
statements then in that case. Like, Kurt Russell said it perfectly when he said, like, we're actors. Like, I'm here to talk about the movies that I'm in. We're here to entertain people.
Anthony Hopkins said we're idiots. Don't ask us about anything. Let me and he's right.
I feel like there's certain times in your life that you need to say something. Like we've hit like this long era of everybody needs to stand up for something and have something to say and do this. And so it's like when I was standing up and saying stuff, I felt like deeply that needed to be said because I was so deeply concerned of where we were going. And so I wasn't just going to shut up and dribble about that. That is something that I'm not sorry for speaking up about. So in certain circumstances, but I feel like it's almost become like the culture to be like outraged all the time about everything.
Right.
You have to have an opinion about every single thing. And so it's like I was very passionate 3 years ago and I'm still equally as passionate, but I've definitely pulled back because, I want to go back into the arts. I want to be an artist and I want so badly to get my projects going. And I understand that like people need to, be able to see me that way and to focus more on what I want now. Cause I feel now people are talking about it. I don't need to talk about it anymore. I don't need to repeat myself, So there are sometimes I think that you hit a certain age or something that when you feel like you need to speak up. And then, I just feel it's okay, but just maybe.
Right. Time and place is a big thing.
Yes.
And it's like, absolutely. If I'm out there, if I'm doing a tour for my newest Marvel movie and I decide to make that movie about some big political talking point that I have, then all of a sudden, whatever you said about that, it's not just about you. It's about this movie. It's about, did you hear what Chris Hemsworth said in this interview for Thor 4 where he whatever. So that's kind of, to me, of course, people are going to have opinions like anything else.
Well, you can tell when it's something that they actually care about versus something that they feel they need to say because the optics of it are
and not trashing the other side. You never trashed other people for their opinions and respected everybody else. The difference is when people come out and say their opinion and then trash people, and specifically the fans.
I never told anybody who to vote for. You had like Sarah Silverman like flashing everyone, and they're like, like vote for Biden, vote Democrat. They're like, excuse me, this was a little uncalled for. Everybody's all these people were like taking off their clothes and we're like, what's happening? Like, what's going on right now?
The whole naked ballots campaign.
I literally did, this is the first time I ever voted, is I put one of those little like shiny vote things. They give you a sticker and I'm like, I voted. And everybody was like, she's a racist.
Fascist.
Never mind.
That escalated quickly.
At that point, I didn't even tell anybody. I don't feel like it's my place. And even in this run, it's not my place to tell as an actress. It's not my place to tell you who to vote for. I would just say, it's okay to kind of like make jokes about, who not to vote for.
Sure.
We're talking about opinions here, and obviously, you know, you put some opinions or some or retweeted some opinions on YouTube. Other cast members of the show in Star Warsy that you were part of had their opinions, and then obviously the big thing happened, and now we've got the lawsuit.
Yeah.
So with Disney now asking for the lawsuit to be dismissed on the grounds of their First Amendment rights, what was it like to be fired for a company for expressing your First Amendment rights?
Like, I literally just want to hold up a mirror. I just want to like hold up a mirror and have them look at themselves.
Yeah.
And it also felt just like, oh my gosh, it felt like an intern wrote that. Like, I was like, what's happening? This was not a very good response.
An intern did write that. I can almost guarantee
it
you.
probably was.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just, nobody, I've spoken to a lot of people. Nobody felt that was a really strong response. So that is, you know, it is going to be what it is going to be. I, you know how sometimes you can kind of feel where things are going. I have no idea where this is going. I don't have any expectations. I'm super grateful that, you know, the man with like the most powerful man in the world at the moment gave me an opportunity to tell my side and to bring me back out of the desert and say, hey, for some reason, and I don't get this, people need to see you go to court in order for you to, you know, be justified. Like, injustices happen all the time. You don't have to go to court to like, you know, but for some reason that does something to people's brains, like a college degree. You know, you don't have to, just because you have a college degree does not mean you're the smartest person in the room, you know? So it's kind of like weird that the energy shifted so hard just because, hey, I'm taking them to court and I'm defending myself. But the energy did shift, and I feel like, oh my gosh, I just feel so excited because I'm actually working on projects, and I've been on this, you know, journey for a long time, and I know what to avoid now. I know the people to avoid. I know the cleaner honors, and like I just know how to. I'm going to have more control of everything that I do, which is make art and make good stories that people love to watch. So it's so exciting. Like ever since that announcement came out, my life changed, and I'm like back in, which is really
that's
fun.
good. No,
I think ultimately you're going to be vindicated in so much of this stuff. I think the swing is happening now, and for people like you who took a stand and, you know, didn't just lay down and take it and actually fought back and said, no, I'm not just going to accept this. I think, you're really going to be recognized ultimately for having made a difference with this.
I think history will look kindly, and I think that's already happened. No matter what happens with the lawsuit, I mean, I don't have expectations for it either, but one of the things we've talked about for a long time is bringing just balance back. I don't care if some actor doesn't like the current president. Like that, if they go after the policy and stuff, do that all day long. Don't really care.
Right.
It's when we have, to the conversation earlier, when we're on the red carpet and we're trying to push some narrative that a portion of your fandom is toxic, it's misogynist. And I saw you fight back on that, Gina, and thank you very much. And that's what we have a problem with. I think it's ridiculous to talk, you know, fine, on Twitter, Instagram, whatever. If you're on the red carpet, you're promoting, and you're being led in by some Access media member who just wants to soundbite and they bite right into it. That's the stuff we have to fight back against, because it's totally fine for one side to do it, and it's totally not okay for one side to do it. That's bad. That's very, very bad. We just need some balance.
A lot of these actors, I feel like they got caught off guard. You know, I think so many people have gotten caught off guard.
Where are their agents? Where are their agents? Where are they paid people?
The agents are a part of it.
Yeah.
So it's the publicists, the managers, the agents. They're all a part of this agenda, and they're all pumping it, you know? So, and then you've got the person, and the person, you know, like they just get the phone call, you know, to be a part of this huge thing, and they're so excited about it. And then, you know, you get on the red carpet, or you're like get in a conversation, and then, you know, you've got all of these people surrounding you that's like, oh, girl power and this, you know, like better, like, and like I remember watching that that clip with Gal Gadot and what's her name? I'm sorry, what's her name? The
Rachel.
Rachel
Zegler.
Oh, right, yeah.
She's like the print. She's not going to be saved by the prince.
Yeah.
Right. And then Gal, Gal is like sweetly, sitting in the chair, like, she's having to kind of like go along with this, like, gently like nodding. So it gets really kind of, I don't know. And I think that people are waking up now. I think they're kind of like, and nothing for the Rachel Zegler. I think that she's just very young, talented, and she will learn her own lessons along the way. And she will eventually get to a place where I got, where, she needs to defend herself, and she will understand what I went through one day. It always comes back around. So
Karma.
It does. It comes back around.
They say so many things that are so similar. It can only be pinned down to they've been given talking points by their publicist, their agent, or whatever. And is that something that you ever experienced? Did they ever come to you and say, like, when you're promoting this TV show, this movie, we really need you to say X, Y, and Z. These are the talking points that we need you to get across.
Yeah, that's every single time. But then it became more, like then it became, especially with like the apology, where I was watching all of these, like, you could just copy paste, right? Like copy this apology and paste it. And all I told him was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to be this like fake person that's just going to be like, oh, I need to get re-educated. I need to do this. And I apologize. And so, but I said, I will absolutely give you a statement. And the statement was like this long. It was like, and I hope someday when everybody gets to read those statements, because I've got nothing to hide. Like, I want people to know I was willing to play ball with them and put out statements. I just wasn't willing to put out their statement. And it was being so I had so much anxiety at that point in my life that, like, I don't know if anybody has ever felt the anxiety of like your skin hurts, like your actual everything hurts so bad because you're just like, what is happening? Like, this is my favorite job. I finally made it. I've got all of these incredible directors and auditions and stuff that are happening. But like, I'm not like doing what they want me to do, because it felt like it was intruding on everything. It just felt like it was crossing my line. So yeah, I think, and the publicists have so much to do with this.
Really?
So much. They are the ones that connect the magazines. They're the ones that connect the red carpets. They're the ones that connect they are the connectors. And so when you're thinking that you're hiring a publicist for yourself, you're actually hiring someone who's going to try to get you into that in group. And so like, I remember at one photo shoot, they brought out this thing, or like, you have to wear this. This is it. And I was like, that should be in the garbage. I want to light that thing on fire. I was like, I would come back from the dead if you put me in like that. It was just so awful. And I'm like, it's almost that degrading. Like, you would have to put on something just to get into this like fashion group, and you hate it. And it's just like, I don't know what it is. It's just so, it's clicky, and I've never been good at it, I guess.
It's probably one of the men in Hollywood is wearing that now, Gina.
Yeah. Gina, I don't want you to name names, okay? But I'm just curious how many people from the industry have reached out to you in private and said they support you, and has that kind of been overwhelming to you, or has it been surprising to you from that perspective? Because even us, we're nobodies, and we have like random people reaching out to us because we're retarded, but you're obviously super respectable. So I'm sure respectable people are reaching out to you. So how has that been for you?
Don't say aw to him, Gina. He is retarded. Okay.
No, 100%.
He's wearing
like,
sunglasses
he's
inside.
retarded.
I mean, look at him.
You clearly don't watch my show to put yourself as.
Why would I do that?
I don't watch the Special Olympics.
I think you guys are a game changer, and I think you guys have been a game changer, at least in my life. You've been a huge part of like this whole process. And I just remember thinking back before I got fired, I remember thinking, these guys, we need to get these guys famous. We need to get these guys up. We need to get their voices out there, because it's going to balance the playing field. So, and now look at you all. I mean, I have like, you know, all these people that come up and they say all of your names. And I'm just so happy it's actually happening, you know, because I knew in order to even this playing field, which is like, it was so off balance, like it was crazy. And now you guys are all becoming like voices and louder, and it's just really cool to see.
Things have gotten so bad.
That's a barometer there.
Well,
It really is.
If even we can get famous, like, goddamn, there's something wrong.
You know,
as far as like people in the industry, it's so funny. Like when I started doing the fan expos, which I wasn't sure I was going to like or not, they you know, some of like the celebrities they would just kind of shun me, you know, even like some of the voice actors kind of like look away. And
voice actors are weird.
Wow.
Yeah, they really are.
Like at the beginning, but then as the world has changed, now there was this one, I don't want to say her name, but she was like, you know, very well known, and she she had me come over to her booth. She's a close talker, you know, and like this close to my face. And she's like, I support you. And she's like, saying all these like wonderful things. But her breath sounded so
You just like tic tac, flick it
so
in.
I must have looked like I was not looking like the alpha at that point because I was like looking down.
You're like, thanks.
I appreciate your support.
Like when a dog's trying to lick your face, and you're just
like, oh, yeah.
we know it was Alyssa Milano. Okay?
got a crocheted mask on. Yeah.
No, she was a wonderful, wonderful actress, but I was like, oh my gosh, like this wonderful moment's getting murdered.
Curse you, halitosis!
Oh, how is this happening? Like, and I went back and told Jay, and he was like, oh my gosh, Jay is so funny.
Jay knows who it is. I'm gonna ask him now.
Yeah. As soon as he gets off that flight.
Maybe she didn't eat that day, and it was like ketones or something. I don't know. But yes, I've had a lot of support.
You know,
That's
Gina,
awesome.
what you said about the publicists rings very true. I've been chatting with a couple of people who are in very serious talks with Hollywood, getting stuff adapted. And some of the stuff they've been saying is really interesting. It's like, not everyone in Hollywood is woke. A lot of the people I've been talking with, they're just on board. They want to make some good... they say that there's also a lot of slime balls that make their skin crawl. On the other side, not all of them are woke. And then it's kind of fallen into discussion. Okay, who is it in Hollywood that has this inordinate influence, which is just making everything go crazy, that are just telling people, feeding them the talking points, setting the standard where they're just following along? And I've always been perceiving that publicists, like what you said
the
right
devil,
there.
Publicists, marketing. Yes.
Marketing.
Publicists are the people that connect everyone to everyone. They're the middle ground, and they just they were all like locked at home during COVID and just going nuts in their head. And I remember one of my publicists, she's like, so I was born in Dallas, Texas but I was only there for 1 and 2 years old. And then we moved to,
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So, but I was only there for 1 and 2 years old. So then I remember this publicist was like, listen, Gina, I'm from Texas too. And I'm like, girl, I'm from Vegas. I'm from Las Vegas, and I've lived in, California for 15 years. I've been, around strip clubs. I've been around, anybody doing my makeup, and like I've never had a problem with, anybody really. So like she was trying to I understand you're from Texas, and I'm like, that was 2 years old. Like
I can't even remember that.
So yeah.
No, we know from the Rings of Power, they got out ahead of that show, and they specifically went after fans. In their very first article, I got confirmation of that. They went to a Tolkien scholar who was completely woke. They didn't go to Tom Shippey, the most famous Tolkien scholar. They went to one who was going to call it misogynist and crap all over Tolkien. So this absolutely happens through PR, marketing, fan baitings. It's a tired old thing that still happens today, and they have plausible deniability, but they're behind it. They're absolutely behind.
Yeah. And they like to get that little like, you know, that narrative out first, and then it spreads like wildfire. Which I think I think in my case you really saw like, whoa, beep bop boop just went like
Yeah.
That's why they wanted you. That's what they wanted you for.
You know, like I could not you could not believe the conversations. I was like, are we literally talking about
that?
We're talking about beep bop and booping, really?
I find it interesting that the villain in Fall Guy, a film that's made by industry, like
fantastic movie, by the way,
stuntmen, and they know the industry. The villain is the producer, publicist.
Yes.
Is the producer.
It's so perfect.
And at the end, she's trying to like convince Emily Blunt. She's like, "We got to get away from all these toxic men, all this."
She calls the audience dogs at one point. Like,
what was her name again? Was it Gail?
I'll look at him. I think it's Gail. Yeah.
Was it?
I think it was Kathleen Kennedy.
Speaking of Kathleen Kennedy, Gina, can you address the rumors that you and George Lucas are both ready to take over Lucasfilm and rewrite the entire Disney
Straight from
trilogy?
zero.
Come on.
Yeah, can you address those rumors?
Can you tell me, is that an actual rumor? Is that, no.
There's a
I wouldn't doubt that it was.
To be fair, it's more probable than you being on the set of Mandalorian season 3, which was an actual rumor, which clearly was not.
She was seen, Ryan. She was seen recording.
You dodged a bullet with that one. Damn, man.
All the time about these rumors that like they make these videos and they'll put my words and they'll put their words, and I'm like, what's happening? Like, and then I was like, wait, is that true? Like,
was I there?
Was I there?
Maybe I forgot. Maybe I was sleepwalking.
There must have been a certain amount of Schadenfreude when that South Park Into the Pandaverse.
Oh yeah,
that was just glorious.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that everybody can see it. Everybody can see it. It's right there.
Yeah,
so that's pretty amazing.
It's crazy how obvious it is to regular people in the rest of the world, and how much Hollywood is in that bubble that is getting influenced by the PR, the publicists, also the activists, the people that are pushing for diversity, equity, inclusion, and all those things. And it's a completely different world. Everyone else in the real world is just thinking, why are you insane?
This is crazy. Yeah. I remember Steven Soderbergh. So my first movie, I remember him. I don't know why. He said, I remember him specifically saying, there is a small box, and he's like, he said that he kind of treads like on like the edge of it, but he's not on the outside of it. But there's a very small box, and once you get on the outside of it, then you're out. And then I remember running into Mickey Rourke years later, and he was canceled, I think, a long time ago. And we were all like at this restaurant in New York, and like he was like shadowboxing 2 inches away from my. I don't know what this is, like too close. Like stay away. Like shadowboxing 2 inches away from my face and telling me about being like blacklisted from Hollywood and all of this. And I was like, looking back, it's been happening for so long. And now I feel like people are all of us are, starting to realize, oh, well, that can just happen to anyone. They can take a beep, bop, and boop and twist it just how they want it, and then ruin a person's life. Or
that's the game. I mean, that is the game, though. The game is to destroy.
Yes. Yes.
To build up and then to break down and to see who can climb back up, I guess.
Yes. It feels like that's part of the strategy. If they can use any number of these activist kind of rallying calls to get people pushed out of positions, which makes them available for, other people that want to climb the ladder.
Yeah.
Yep.
That they can control.
But I think with social media, though, social media was built on the algorithm of hatred. That's what social media was. It was built on the algorithm of arguments to force engagement as opposed to actual conversation. So as social media has evolved, and that's evolved with it, and you've got a generation that's literally growing up with that mentality. You say something, now we're in a world that's so polarizing and black and white. You're not allowed to have shades of gray. You're not allowed to have nuance. You can't like something because of these reasons and not like it because of other reasons. You got to be all in. That you get to a situation like that you just speak normal stuff. There's nothing remotely controversial. There's nothing remotely controversial that we talk about in the real nothing whatsoever. However, we are perceived as alt-right this or extreme that or ists or phobes and whatnot. But with you, because you're a fucking worldwide star, they see what you do and they go for it, and they just want to they take that mentality and they just want to rip it to pieces.
I think since that happened with me, and I think that was it was a big moment, and I think we're all starting to. I think the rest of everybody, I think everybody else they're all starting to figure it out.
And that's because of you. You're a problem.
You opened the door for that.
Go away.
You were supposed to go away.
No, you were supposed to bend the knee. You were supposed to fall in line. And that's what they've done to so many people. They will basically say, "We're going to ruin your career if you don't shut the fuck up."
Yeah.
That's the message.
Basically become a huge problem, and you're not going away. And like you said, Elon Musk, who's probably the most influential human being on the planet right now, and I've said many times with him and his purchase of Twitter, it's going to be one of the biggest moments. We're going to look back on his purchase of Twitter and everything he's doing. And you're becoming a massive problem, and keep kicking ass and moving forward because they hate it.
A term that they love in Silicon Valley is disrupting, right? And you disrupted Hollywood, and Elon disrupted social media in a way that hasn't been disrupted in decades, right? And it's really helping break the narrative that gets spun by us or by the mainstream media. And it's great that you open the door for everybody else because, like as Jeremy was saying, that's a message that they were sending to you and every other actor. Now, it would be great. What?
Sorry. What? Did I just drop out? For a second?
No.
Sorry. Gary froze completely for me for like 5 fucking seconds.
It was you.
It was me.
It was you.
Yeah.
Thanks for derailing everything, Ryan.
Gary was giving a heartfelt speech there, Ryan.
No, you know what? I had to stop because Ryan laughed. We don't want to interrupt Ryan laughing. It happens so little. I'm fine.
That's why I laughed, because Gary was like going on this rant and then he just stopped and froze. Everybody else was moving for me. So I thought they just didn't want to interrupt them. I'm like, what the fuck?
It's so good.
Hey, Gina, do you think we're so influential now? Hey.
Yeah. I didn't even earn that one. Come on.
No,
Garrett. Okay, thank you.
Is this the group? Is this like the main group right here? Is this the?
Well, we're missing the biggest star. The biggest star is Odin. He's not here.
He's fashionably late.
He's getting his makeup done.
He's getting his makeup done. He's the only guy on Earth who's ever had children and procreated. So
it's like Children of Men with Odin.
Yeah, and Chrissy. Chrissy is also not here.
But she had a baby though.
She just gave birth.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll give her a pass on that one.
She may or may not show up later. We'll see.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to watch. I don't know what she did. She did something about on YouTube. She did her because I've never. So obviously I've never given birth before, but it seems petrifying. And so I was actually like messaging with her, and I'm like, "How are you feeling?" She's like, petrified. I'm like, "Oh, good, yeah, that's
normal."
Checks out. Yeah.
So I've been meaning to like watch her thing. I'm not pregnant. I don't plan on being pregnant. I want to get back to business, and I know that's like a controversial thing for some people to say, but I want to get back to art. But I love the whole like new thing where like people should have babies earlier, and I love that I love what the conservative movement is doing with that. It's just I'm just not. I don't know.
It's weird that the conservative, the quote unquote conservative, it's not for everyone. No, absolutely not. But it's weird that it's become punk rock to be traditional again, and how that flipped. I never thought I'd live to see that.
I mean, like, I don't know. I think maybe in the future, like maybe adoption or something. But I don't know.
Adoption's good.
Yeah.
Adopted.
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of Megan Fox, she's doing a wonderful job with her kid.
Dun, dun, dun.
There's like 3 lovely boys in skirts and dresses.
I missed it. Okay.
The thing is, it's not just like kids that are getting raised in Hollywood that are number like this. Like kids right now in school, it's an insane amount of people that are trying to get on this trend of being trans or being bi or like whatever. Like literally just because it's trendy, because they saw it on TV, because they saw it in a movie, because whatever. Literally the programming that Hollywood's been trying to push on everybody has been working. It's frightening the amount of kids that identify as something just because it's the flavor of the
It's a
week.
trend. Yeah.
And that's such a dangerous thing.
Oh,
very dangerous.
Especially with the surgery.
After 18, do whatever you want after 18. Like, have a blast, you know?
Sure.
right.
But like, you know, up until 18, I feel like, in my opinion, it's child abuse, and so I don't know, like that's it. And then it goes into women's sports, which is like completely suffering. So it's like, in order for them to compete in women's sports, there would have to be like hormones early, and in order for there to be hormones early, that would be considered, to me, child abuse. And so but after 18, you know, like do you and have a blast, and you know, come, like, I'll give you a hug. Like, I don't care what you do after 18.
Spend your teenage years figuring it out. Let's get super controversial. Remember all the people on the other side of the COVID argument who are saying, like, well, you might not want the jab, but you affect everybody else. It affects society. Well, guess what? The same issue affects society. It becomes society's problem just in a decade. You know,
to just getting a crap tattoo.
Dude, I know. Or doing drugs. Get high and get a tattoo and regret it later if you live.
It's like through a goth phase, you know, just get out of it.
Yeah, go through any kind of phases you want in your life, I suppose. Just don't force the rest of the world to like enable you.
Or especially on kids. That's the biggest issue.
Yeah.
And more research has actually been coming out about how harmful puberty blockers are for little children, to the point that actual countries are starting to ban it outright. It's
not just countries, progressive countries that are banning it.
Countries.
There's
There's
a
that
reason.
much data on how harmful this is. People are starting to wake up.
There's a reason they're going after kids. They're not going to convince all of us old fuckers. So they're going to go after people they can actually manipulate and actually twist them up, because keeping people divided and keeping people reliant upon the government is all they want to do. So getting them at a young age and manipulating them and fucking them up, that does wonders for them into the future. And that's why it's happening.
I think what's going to happen, it's going to backfire, because you're just going to get a ton of really upset kids 5 years from now that are now grown up, and they're like, what did you do to me? And why?
We're seeing it now, too.
It's
People are speaking out, like Chloe Cole, who's been speaking out about it as well. So it's only going to get worse as time goes on.
Can we get back to the old school, like high school problems of premarital sex and doing pot?
Yes.
Instead of chopping your
doing pot. Doing pot.
Doing pot, Gary.
I've never heard it said doing pot.
Gary, I've been around a lot more drugs.
I feel like your dad was up to you and said, are you doing pot?
Are you doing pot?
Are you doing
Sounds
the
like
hair?
straight edge.
By the way, I'm awful. Like, I can drink, but I can't smoke weed. And if I do, it'll get so weird. Like, I will have the weirdest conversations, and I think like I've traumatized people like with my conversations to where they don't smoke weed anymore.
But you'll definitely fit on FNT then.
I've tried, you know, of course, like I smoked pot, like, you know, plenty of times in my life. Like, I think I was stoned for an entire year once, you know, but like, that's going to go viral shit.
Hi, Twitter.
Hi, Reddit.
But it never calmed me down, and all these people would just be really relaxed, and I'd just be like, I'd be just going around the world, and I'd be going around like the cities, and like in my head, I'd just be going around the family stuff, and I just like, it would stress me out, and then like, you know, everybody would pass out, and I'd be up till 6 a.m. just like, what the hell is the relaxing part of this?
Oh, you're paranoid.
You're the paranoid one. Yeah, that happens. That happens.
You're just smoking the wrong stuff, man.
No, I tried all of it. They were like,
it was very scientific.
This is
She
not
did the pot.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Bad.
Hey, Gina, can I be the first to go ahead and make a clickbait video that says Gina Carano admits to being a drug addict? That way I can get ahead of the curve.
Put her behind bars in the thumbnail.
It's going to turn into Gina Carano did heroin for a whole year.
You know who's the first going to do the video is Drunk 3PO. He'll have the video for FNT.
He's working on it right now.
His fucking big face in the corner.
Records it on the plane.
Okay, you guys know that lip biting meme?
Yes.
Yes.
I I was high.
Show us.
Oh no!
More clips!
No!
Because I got high. Because I got
You're ruining the illusion, Gina.
I was gonna be the chick.
There's a little secret behind that because every time like somebody shows that, I was just really in my head and really nervous, and the camera I felt just kept on coming on, like it just kept on. I was like, is this happening in real life or am I just being paranoid right now? Turns out it was really happening.
No.
But yeah, I mean, those
Was that in the year of high? Was that when you just high?
Everybody hates this clip.
Teed up and ready to go.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Wasted, absolutely wasted.
There, I can see it there. I can see it there.
I want Thug Life in the corner and a doobie just flying.
I
love some gangster music too.
Yeah.
I love the fucking title.
We need the
Gina
Thug Life
Carano-
glasses. Then.
He's trying to live by.
Well, if you guys want to know, who you're looking at, like, hi, it's that beast right there. I don't know who that is. Like, it's not me normally. That's a whole other personality.
Oh man,
That's a good time right there, Gina. I'm just saying. That's a good time right there.
Yeah,
A lot of people are like, "That's my type."
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh yeah, you might have bounced up a few points with that one. So
yeah.
but no, you've never had a problem. It's what I was trying to say earlier before Ryan decided to laugh for the first time in 10 years.
Like, Gary, you were trying to say an important point before, and we have not gone back to it at all.
I like to leave him hanging.
Let's circle back.
Yeah, we're gonna circle back to that. So basically, Gina has the biggest metaphorical balls in Hollywood, and we needed more people to follow. That was it. You
100.
opened the door. We just haven't had enough people walk through it yet. It's some. You've made it safer, and like more people are contacting you. They've been talking to us, you know, and you have a ton of respect there from the few people. It's very anecdotal, but from the few people I've talked to. But yeah, we need more people to call out their own industry. Like when it's 70-year-old like Jerry Seinfeld saying for the 5th time in a year, like, yeah, woke killed comedy. It did, you know, and it becomes this like huge viral thing. It's like, dude, we need so many other people talking about it. Because for one, comedy's not dead. And, you know, entertainment is not dead. There's still a huge market for all of this stuff. I think all of us talk about it. There's still a huge market for comics. There's still a huge market for comedy, live. Stand-up is thriving. When they make a good movie, people come out and see it, and generally it's not a bunch of dumb actors coming out and crapping on it. So maybe we just need more people within the industry who actually feel this way, I don't know, to remind themselves that they have a sack and get out there and talk about it more,
well,
you know?
Also, like, you know, art is supposed to be the most free thing, right? So it's like, make whatever you want, make whatever you want, but don't just pigeonhole it like, oh, Hollywood just makes this, you know, like just like make art free again. It's supposed to be free, and there's room for all sorts of different ideas. Like, I mean, like make art free again. For the love of God, I cannot believe.
Are you high?
Well,
I have a question for you, Gina, and it was sent in from a struggling YouTuber named Jay. Jay has a question for you that he wants me to ask you live in front of 19,700 people.
Jay, where are you, Jay? I'm right now.
Jay says, when are you fighting Ronda Rousey?
Okay, Jay. Has he not been watching this show?
Obviously not.
He's on a plane. He told me he's like, his reception's terrible. I've had to get 5 different clarifications. I'm like, you're telling me I can ask her that? He goes, yes, ask her. Tell her it's from me.
Here's the deal then, Jay. You have to have your first serious amateur fight.
Oh.
And I'll fight again.
Whoa!
There you go. Heard it first. Breaking news.
Can he fight Ronda Rousey first?
Yeah.
If Jay seriously wanted to do a train for a fight and do an amateur fight, it just has to be one, then I would do another fight.
Whoa!
It's all on you, Jay.
Who would be
Ball's in your court.
Gina, are you going to fight Jay in that case?
Yeah.
I think it's really good for us both. So I think that could happen.
Jay?
Wow.
As far as Ronda Rousey, she just came out with her book, and she just said that. And she's offered it, by the way. She said
Really?
she offered that. The one person that she would come back and fight was me, which I think is amazing. I have to lose a lot of weight, so that's going to be hard because I would never not have it be the same weight. But I think she just came out saying that she had to retire because of the concussions that she got during her career. Yeah, that was the thing. So it's whether it's Ronda Rousey or someone else, if Jay wants to do an amateur fight, I'll make the UFC walk.
Well, you guys could just wrestle. You don't have to hit each other in the head. I think people will be cool with that.
Sorry, I think I found the perfect opponent for Jay.
Oh no.
I think this.
Come on.
Hey.
This guy would kick Jay's ass.
Get his ass kicked.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, he's got
This is
some
freaking
moves.
awesome.
This guy's awesome.
He's fucking awesome.
I mean, if he gets to bring the nunchucks into the ring, he'll fuck Jay up.
This kid just destroyed Shad's nunchuck argument, immediately.
Yeah.
That's
Hell yeah.
I don't want to see Jay
Hell
get his
yeah.
ass
He will whoop Jay's ass. He will whoop Jay's
Chad just doesn't like that guy because he can actually use nunchucks.
Seriously, unironically, though, people share that clip with me saying, "What do you think about nunchucks now?"
Look up Nick Diaz. Nick Diaz loves nunchucks. He actually makes it look cool. It's really cool.
Would Nate be down to spar with Jay?
Ricky Berwick would kick Jay's ass, okay?
No, you guys don't know. I think there's something in Jay that is I feel like he can be fierce. I feel like he's a strong person.
Independent woman. Oh.
Especially when he's in his bear outfit.
I've seen a different side of him, and you would be so surprised. He's not afraid to get in people's faces. Yeah, I've seen him yeah.
I see why.
Yes. This is what he makes things. He makes it cool.
There you go.
Right.
There you
I'm
go.
sorry. If Nate Diaz comes in, he's gonna whoop anybody's ass.
Yeah.
He's just he's so nonchalant with it.
By the way, I think Nick Diaz is making a comeback as well. I think he's in a better mental state than he's ever been. So I think he's actually kind of making a comeback.
Oh, good.
Which is cool. He's one of my favorites. Him and Nate. We came up at the same time. So, and Mike Tyson is coming back.
That's happening in Dallas.
Yes, it is.
It's an officially sanctioned bout now.
It is. Yes.
This is going to officially sanction and kill Jake Paul.
Yeah, I can't imagine that Mike Tyson wouldn't be able to he's not going to be able to turn off this is a sparring exhibition. He's not going to be able.
No way.
Gina you shared an Instagram story, and I shared an Instagram story a few weeks ago where Mike Tyson is being interviewed, and he's crying.
Yeah,
he's crying as he's been interviewed, and he's talking about how he's had to try and reprogram himself as a person. He studied the art of war. Everybody. He's just been, that's why I was so feared, because I was just built to fight, and then I had to step back and then I feel like a bitch. And he says, and I worry about that guy, because when he comes back, hell's coming with him. You believe him. He's just like,
I think that's a very normal thing. I would, if I would cry every. It would be the night before the fight, and it's almost like you're just releasing all of your fear. You're releasing all of this, you're just releasing all of it, and then you get in primal mode, and then your adrenaline when you're walking into a cage and then you're standing there looking across a person, looking them in their eyes, is seriously, and I said this on a podcast once, but it's the one of the most intimate things besides sex. It's so intimate. Yeah. You're looking at the person we're about to
How do you control that though? How do you control it? Because you with your adrenaline spiking, you're still got to control it to release.
I don't know. That's a good question. I had, you know, I've had 2 adrenaline, like where my adrenaline dumped in 2 fights. One of them was a cyborg fight where my legs just like, I was like, legs? What's going on?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I was like,
Yeah.
You're not working. Like, you're literally just moving and I'm not telling you what to do. And then another fight was a K1 fight. I don't know if you guys know K1. That was an old school promotion. I was like warming up backstage and my master Chan was holding the pads and he's like, baby, come on, you know, like hit the pads. And I couldn't get my arms to move up, to hold them up like this, just to hit the pads. They wouldn't move. So I had an adrenaline dump. And so he looked at me and he was like, okay. And he just like patted me on my back and he's like, get out there. Like, and so I made the walk and my like arms are just kind of like,
Jesus.
Work. And I went in between the, like, you know, the ropes and I'm looking across at the lady that I was fighting, Elena Maxwell. And I was like, well, I hope they come to start working at some point. And we met in the middle and then we came apart and then they came to life. So adrenaline is such an interesting thing. I fought a lot of girls who were on steroids and it's like the people don't know like what steroids does to a person's mental state. Like it gives them like, you know, so much more confidence where the rest of us normal humans not on steroids are having to actually go through the emotional adrenaline dumps of like, I can't feel my legs. You know?
So, I mean, is that sort of stuff, is that policed to any extent within the UFC or do they just turn a blind eye or what?
Well, with me being like so early, right? It wasn't as much. And I think it was like, you know, they just kind of randomly tested. But I mean, especially the main events, like me and Cyborg are the main event. So I think she ended up popping later. But, you know, by the way, Cyborg's a beautiful, wonderful person. But like, you know, that was not like a fair.
Oh, we do have a message from Jay, just real quick.
Another one?
I'm a lover. So Drunk 3PO single-handedly has destroyed Gina Carano's MMA comeback.
Yeah.
Damn it, Jay.
Jay. God.
I was thinking Jay's a secret badass. He's like got a pirate inside that he wants to release. He's always talking about it. Come on, Jay.
Bring out the pirate. You could have your own, like, you know, you could be like Jay Blackbeard Joey. I don't know.
Joey.
Grow a beard out.
The Canadian bear.
The Canadian.
We're gonna switch that around. I'm gonna try to get him.
If I know Jay, he knows how to play things up pretty well, so he's probably just having a little fun on Twitter. He's good at that, and he does it unintentionally. He's the most unintentional funny human being I've ever met. He does not cry.
Did you guys see the video when he like? So I'm like, I'd love to be like, I was like, Jay, I'll be your cameraman, you know? So he started walking in front of me and then he just starts pointing. Pointing. And I'm like, I had like 2 martinis and I was dying laughing. I'm like, what is he pointing at? Like, he was just like, and then I was supposed to, and then he showed me his J Travel channel and it's like all these really, really beautiful like pictures of him, like, you know, artistic. And I totally ruined it and made fun of it. And I was like, I literally almost peed my pants. I don't know what's so funny about it, but he has so many funny moments that he's almost made me pee my pants. That's why I'm thinking like him. He's not even trying to be funny. And I'm just like, this
That's what he does. That's what he does.
I've had so much fun with this. I've really enjoyed.
Thank you.
It was a real pleasure talking to you, Jay.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've been wonderful. Yeah.
Thanks for coming on for a proper FNT guest spot. That's awesome.
Yeah, and she was only supposed to be here for a little while. She stayed a lot longer.
So thank you, Gina.
I had so much fun. So much fun. And I'm a fan of every single one of you. And I hope that your guys' star just keeps rising. And I appreciate all your support. So
But Gina, we've been a big fan of you. I mean, we all have. We've been a big fan of you before any of the business happened. I've been following you since your MMA days, but that's because I thought you're hot as fuck. But that's just by the by. We've been following. You know, we all have been following you here, and we, you know, the amount of support that you have, and not just from we're talking about the audience who are watching, and everyone that's been on Twitter and just had your back. You have so many people that legitimately have your back.
Yeah.
You've been so consistent. You're an absolute sweetheart in everything that you've done, and it's a pleasure to kind of go to bat when we need to go to bat, because you're one of the good ones.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you guys were a part of all of that inspiration, because I saw you guys out there doing it as well. So I just, I think I got a little defensive for you guys, because I felt like what was happening, and from my perspective, seeing from the inside, what was happening to you guys was not fair. And, I saw that on the Zach, like they go to people and they say, these are the bad people. And I think that's a really poor way to do business. And it's like, they tried to do that with me. And I was like, oh, at first you're like, okay, you don't want to disappoint your employer. But then at the same time, I care for people. So then I started looking deeper and I'm like, okay, so what's the big deal? You have a critic, you have critics, you have people that are being better critics than all the other critics. You're actually like having people be honest about things. So it's just kind of like, I didn't agree with it and I didn't go along with it. And I'm glad I didn't, and I wouldn't take it back for anything. So
hell yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Gina.
Thank you, Gina.
Gina Carano. Hell! That was awesome.
That was pretty cool.
That was pretty brilliant.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.